Hey, thanks for joining us on our holiday comic book coffee break. I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dusk versus Tweak.
You're very unsure about that, it seemed to
Yeah,
me.
well, I was trying to decide if I was going to say that it is. I don't know. Go ahead. I was just working through some different things in my head, and by the
Okay.
by the time it was time to say that thing, I hadn't decided. So
Yep,
maybe I won't
been
take
there,
those
certainly
improv
been there.
classes.
You know, Eric, it's a special day, so I don't have coffee. I do, in fact, have eggnog.
mm.
Can you see this right in there? Can you see that
Do they
nog?
not make eggnog coffee?
Oh, I'm sure they do, but this is just the real thing.
Okay, you moved your camera way up.
Jeez, I'll fix it. There.
Somebody's having
Okay.
a grumpy Christmas. Somebody needs to
No,
be
I'm
visited by
not.
the
I'm
ghost of
having
the
a great
present.
Christmas. Do you have anything? What are you drinking? You drinking anything holiday?
I'm way more holiday than you.
Mm.
I got
Oh.
a Coca-Cola, the soda of Christmas.
But it's not even like one of the Christmas branded Coca-Colas that you have.
No, it came in a 12 pack.
Oh man. You know what? I haven't got this here. I always like to get those little special like Christmas glass bottles that they do every Christmas.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen these in a while, but they used to do the little like 10-ounce plastic bottles that were shaped like Christmas bulbs, like little
Oh, yeah.
round.
Mm-hmm.
I loved those.
Mm.
I haven't been to a store,
Are you
of
cold?
any substance in quite a while. Am I cold?
Well, your curtain blew, and so I thought maybe you have like the window open. I was like, he's gonna freeze to death.
No, there's no open window. It's probably just a dog or a cat.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
was worried
nice
for
and
you.
toasty warm in my dinosaur Christmas shirt, as you can see.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
you know.
Yeah. Nick's
Anyway,
background has changed so that he doesn't freeze to death when we record these.
yes, I do miss my wood paneled
You should take a
back room, but it
picture
is
and then make it your Skype background.
that is brilliant. You know what's sad about it? I finally added the Dr. Robotnik signed photo that you got me to that
Hey,
wall,
yeah.
but then I never recorded back there again. So yes, I'll have to do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
when I met the current voice of Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, past and present. He
Yeah.
is Dr. Robotnik's
Mm-hmm.
past and
Not Jim
future.
Carrey.
No, different
Have you
guy.
read the new Sonic the Hedgehog comics?
No,
No.
I
Okay.
haven't really read any Sonic the Hedgehog comics since I was like buying the Princess
The
Sally
Princess Sally ones,
miniseries.
yeah.
Yeah, that really left a mark on me, I've got to
hmm
say.
Yeah.
Eric, this show's brought to
Really
you by
awoke
the
you
radio.
sexually.
I thought that was implied, but yeah, let's say it. Radio Meanwhile Network, Eric. That's who's bringing you this fine
You
content
can
today.
find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com.
I wanna give a little shout out to some other Radio Meanwhile Christmas specials, including 902 and Here We Go.
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole playlist on the SoundCloud. So if you look it up on SoundCloud, there's all the Christmas episodes of both Nostalgia Me This and 902 and Here We Go
Mm-hmm.
together. Last year we did a Luke Perry movie about a Christmas wedding, which was bad. This
Uh-huh.
year though, it was a pretty you're not caught up, I assume. You haven't
I haven't
listened to
listened to the
USS
new one. No, yeah.
USS Christmas is about a Tiger Cruise, which apparently is a real thing.
Yes.
My co-host Kendra,
Mm-hmm.
her father was in the Navy, and so
Mm-hmm.
we had tons of factual
Yeah, I'm excited for
little
that stuff.
little nudges here and there where she was like, never, never. So the movie was bad, the conversation was fun. So
Okay.
give that a shot. Of 902, and Here We Go. Well,
Okay.
you got some Christmas specials brewing, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know when you're watching this, but yes, previously on X-Men, we talked about X-Men 144.
Was that
Which-
Kitty Pryde and the
Yeah,
Monster?
which you just knew about. I found out.
Yes. Well, because I have a bunch. I got them out today. I have a bunch of like Christmas themed comics.
Yeah, I was
and
wondering
think
if you had that. Okay.
yeah, I do.
I'm not sure if I have a
Yeah.
physical copy of it. I've got
Yeah.
the ones, I've got the Days of Future Past, and I've got the one right
Yeah, yeah.
after it, but not sure if I
Mhm.
had the Christmas one. So.
So you're talking Kitty Pryde's Christmas over on previously on X
Oh, and
Men.
then
You got some.
Mariah Carey's "All I Want
Yeah.
for Christmas Is You" over on '90s Music
Yes.
got me like. So.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we're not talking cover songs this week over there
Oh, okay.
because
All
I
right.
hated all the covers. We got something else that we're gonna discuss.
Okay.
So,
Fun.
is it a light week for both of us?
I don't know. I think I did all right, but since you bring it up, let's talk comic books. What have you been reading?
1, 2, 3, 4. You did do better than me. You start then.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to give you my non-Christmassy items first, and then we'll get into the Christmas content.
Sounds
I
good.
read Captain America: Truth by
Mhm.
Robert Morales. and Kyle Baker. Are you familiar with this
Yeah,
miniseries?
I've got the single issues still.
Oh, okay.
I read this forever ago. I
Yeah.
do not remember much of the story,
Mm,
but I remember the concept, and then this character went on to play a role for the Young Avengers.
okay. Well, I mean, it is a very cool concept. It's about um, I mean, basically, it's about the military trying out the Captain America serum on black soldiers
Hmm.
as sort of like test
Yeah,
subjects.
during World War II.
Um, yeah, so it's a dark story,
Hmm.
and then it kind of goes from there, and it merges with the story with Steve Rogers, Captain America, in the present day, and those sort of coming together, and him figuring out that sort of dark past
Right.
of the Captain America legacy.
Yeah, they were
So
just experimenting on them,
yes,
not having necessarily success. It was one of
right,
those like, oh, well, nobody will ask questions if we do this,
yes,
and
exactly.
then it basically working. Gosh, I cannot remember the character's name. Bradley?
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm.
It kind of works for him, and he's kind of
Yeah.
like on the front line and
Yeah.
witnessing some of the more horrific stuff of World War II.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
So it was really hard for me to rate this one
mhm.
because the content and the story I think are really good. The art is insane.
It's all over the
It's
place. I remember
just
that. Yeah.
it is within an issue. It's not like it's changing from issue to issue, but it's like some of the characters look like Sunday morning comic strips. That what
Hmm.
it looks like Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace. Captain America is a more traditional look, and then some of the other characters look like loose sketches, like if you were storyboarding a movie or something, and you were just like, so something like this would happen.
Hmm.
And so it was a weird juxtaposition of like almost comic strippy art with really like dark racially motivated like murders
Hmm.
happening, and I just could not for the life of me like settle into the tone. So I think it's definitely worth reading, but it is a
Hmm.
weird experience, and I'm not really sure what the thought process was about
I
that
remember
art,
the
and I would
pacing having like a
really
weird issue.
interested
I
to know.
remember like the
It's a little
last.
too long.
Yeah, I
It's
remember the
seven.
last
It's seven
issue.
issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the thing. I had like the first 6 issues,
Yeah.
and then I found out there was a seventh issue, and it was
Hmm.
just it felt like, yeah, kind of like, oh crap, we got to finish this, or we
Yeah.
need one more issue or something.
I think this is something that would have benefited from a
Hmm.
tighter, like 4 issues with better art. I mean, the art is just it must have been purposeful, but
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it. So
yeah. I don't
mixed
remember.
feelings.
I remember there being something about it, like maybe, uh, like this was out, but maybe Marvel wasn't advertising it as much as they could have been. I can't remember. There was something
Hmm.
about uh, what like how connected the story would be and everything. So yeah, this character is the grandfather of Patriot, who I think you've seen
Okay.
in like other stuff.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was like a blood trans. He said he had his powers, but he didn't. But then there was a blood. They had to give him a blood transfusion, and his grandfather
Okay.
did it, so he did have the Captain
I
America
see.
powers. So.
Well, this was just I'm like reading through comics I like in order, and this just happened to be like the one that I was on.
Hmm.
And after I read it, I was listening to the podcast Fat Man Beyond, and they were talking about this character possibly playing a role in Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Oh, sure.
which
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about that elsewhere, but that would be
I haven't heard
interesting.
about
I mean,
that.
it would
Yeah.
certainly makes sense
Hmm.
because that show is theoretically sort of all about the Captain
Yeah.
America legacy.
They had talked about different stuff after Winter Soldier. They had talked about doing like the 1950s Captain or the Vietnam.
Yeah.
That the Captain America that goes off the rails kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
or whose like
Mm-hmm.
story just kind of disappears. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah, I remember. I don't know if you remember, but before they had cast Chris Evans, people had thought there were rumors going around that Will Smith was going to be cast as this Captain
Oh,
America, and that was going
that would
to
have been
be
interesting.
what they had done, and they would skip the Steve Rogers, and then but Kevin
Huh.
Feige tends to be more of a like he likes getting the traditional versions of the characters out first,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Okay.
hence
All right.
our third Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's true. And that was a perfect time to do Miles Morales. I was actually a little surprised when they
yeah,
went Peter again. But
yeah.
do you want me to do another one? How light are
I
you?
thought it would have been pretty brave to go with a Ben Riley. No, I'm
Yes.
glad we didn't get a
It's
Ben
not too
Riley.
late. It's not too
That's true.
late. You
Yeah,
know what?
yeah. If you're
He
doing a
could be
Spider
revealed to
Verse,
be
why
Ben
not?
Riley. Yeah,
I'm
do it.
surprised.
Go for it.
Why go for a Spider Verse if that's already been done with the animated? Go for a Clone Saga. Let's get the Clone
Yeah,
Saga on
yeah.
film. Let's get
Let's
the.
bring that back.
I want to see. I don't
Lean into
know.
it.
Adrian Brody as the Jackal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's. I couldn't think of anyone else to play the Jackal.
No, that's pretty good.
Okay.
That's good
It's a
casting.
little off
Yeah,
kilter.
it is. It is.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah. Say you're because I also have a theme, but it's not Christmas. So say your next because this is your last
Okay.
Marvel one too.
It is. I read X-Men, well, New X-Men. E is for Extinction by Grant
New
Morrison and
X-Men.
Frank Quitely.
Uh-huh.
Now, I the thing about this is that like it is a number one, but
Mhm.
it's picking up the numbering and the storyline from what came before it. So
Mhm.
it's I found it to not be a super great start
Uh,
into the story.
what storyline is it picking up from?
Uh well, I mean they're just like en route. They pick somebody up and they're coming back. There's not a lot of like groundwork about like what their situation is. So it just felt to me like I was missing large portions of what was so whatever like issue 103 was seemed like it was relevant and I didn't really understand.
I can tell
So,
you didn't miss anything. That is
oh,
just
okay.
that's just Grant Morrison's.
That's you just dropped in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what do I know?
There was he's definitely one of those. In fact, they had done the only thing you would have missed is right before this has happened. There was a story called Eve of Destruction that
Okay.
was kind of like a clean slate kind of thing to get ready for Grant Morrison and Joe Casey. Anyway, the only thing that happened before this is that Wolverine had stabbed Magneto in the back and paralyzed him. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
that was like the only big
Interesting.
thing that happened right before this.
Hmm.
Also, Cyclops had died because he had merged with Apocalypse during the
Okay.
12, and he's recently back from the dead. Like that's
Oh, that's
it.
nice.
So, but there's still like all you need to know is Magneto's paralyzed and Cyclops has some lingering Apocalypse things because he had merged a
I
little.
One thing that I particularly liked about this was the relationship between Wolverine and Cyclops,
Mm-hmm.
which is like not a new thing. I mean, they're always kind of frenemies, but I thought that this had, I don't know, it both felt more aggressive, but also a little bit more like comfortable between the two of
Yeah,
them.
it was
You know what I'm
definitely
saying?
kind of like over it. Like we're over this whole like I like the
Yeah.
redhead. No, I like the redhead.
Yes.
I'm sorry for calling Jean the redhead, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of got over this whole their whole like Wolverine's like I don't take rules from nobody. He does. He'll take orders from Cyclops
Right.
in the
Mhm.
field.
Yeah.
But then when
So
Cyclops is like clean your room, he'll be like get out of my
he won't
face,
do it.
Slim.
And this was before their rooms all interconnected.
Yes,
Right.
right on
That's
the moon.
earlier.
Yeah,
Okay.
on their moon base.
All right.
Yeah, Grant Morris. I mean, gosh, you read Truth in this. What a crazy time Marvel was.
Yes.
In like
Yeah.
2000,
Yeah, they
2001.
are kind of contemporaries. Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot
That's
of
funny.
changes, but yeah, this is like the X-Men had kind of been in this weird, not great state in the late 90s, kind of overlong, boring stories and stuff. And Grant Morrison coming in was like huge. This whole run was like, I mean, when we talk about like Wizard Magazine, like they were always talking about this. It was like
Yeah.
the hype that the X-Men franchise needed at this point. So
It's kind of funny because what is this, 2001, you said?
yeah, because there's events coming that had a very weird parallel to 9/11 at the time.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Well, it was I mean, reading it was kind of funny like with that context to think that this was sort of their response to the X-Men movie. You know, it kind of
Yeah, a
shows how
little.
differently that kind of thing worked because they're really not connected at all. Whereas
Yeah.
I feel like now, as soon as Robert Downey Jr. hit, everybody
Mhm.
was like, quick, every Iron Man has to be Robert Downey Jr., whether it's
Yeah,
Superhero Squad or the most serious comic book, turn him into Robert Downey Jr.
I think
And
there's
this is just kind of like, you know,
yeah, there's a little bit of Wolverine getting dropped. This run, you were talking bad art on Truth. This
Hmm.
run has some inconsistent and terrible
Oh.
fill-in arting. But yeah, there's some issues where it looks like they're trying to get a mix of traditional Wolverine and Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman Wolverine, and it's not an easy combination to do. Yeah, the leather outfits came from the movies, and really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I wish I had talked about this with David Hayter, but the movies are
That's a fun thing to be able to
I
say,
know, that's
you
true.
know?
The movies were the first time that the school was really shown as like an actual
Like
school.
functioning, yeah.
Yeah, because like it had been a school when they were teenagers, but like
Hmm.
a school that has that many students, and so like
Right.
Grant Morrison was also bringing that in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another strange thing. It's the X-Men comics post the movies. Such
Hmm.
a strange time. Just looking at
Yeah.
the covers got me all jazzed for it. I gotta reread this run.
Yeah, do it.
It's so crazy. I don't know how you'll like the rest. I mean, some of them are good. I don't know. I won't say anything else.
Okay. I did meet Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who I only know from the Deadpool movie, so that was kind
Yeah,
of fun
she's just kind of a
to see her.
throwaway gag in it. Like that one panel, and it's just her name.
Yeah.
Um,
Still, it was fun to see like where that came
so
from
you
in
just
its
read
way.
these 3 issues.
No, the first volume is it's the 3 issues. It's a Beast story,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the annual is
Okay.
included in this first volume.
Yeah,
Yep.
a little messy. Uh, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, Cyclops gets a lot of good work in this.
Yeah.
Actual attention. That's
Hmm.
Cyclops. Um, all right, sweet. Are you gonna keep
Yeah.
reading?
Yeah, I think so. I still have more on the queue. I thought I'd get into it a little bit because because I felt like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really feel like I had a full sense of like the vibe that we were going for,
Mm-hmm.
but I found the character work very promising.
Mm-hmm. All right, sweet. Okay, well, my theme is not Christmas; it's Batman.
Oh,
I
okay.
read 3 Batman stories, and I've got a
Oh,
lot
okay.
of thoughts about all of them
Okay.
and Batman in general. So hold on to your horses. Batman rides a
Hmm.
horse in Dark Knight Returns.
Oh yeah, he does.
All right.
Yep.
I guess I'll talk about the first one I read. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that
Yeah.
because the others. I read Batman 3 Jokers because I hate
Mhm.
myself.
That's
So,
more than usual. It's two more than
how
usual.
much do you know about this stuff? I mean, I guess I'm gonna explain it anyway.
Until you said Batman Three Jokers, I hadn't even heard that.
Okay.
So
Did you never finish his Jeff Johns Justice League run with the Apocalypse War comics where Batman sits in the Morbius chair?
not the Dark Side War.
I think it's the Dark Side War.
Oh, okay. You said Apocalypse War, but
Oh,
that's
well, it's this. Yes, sorry.
but that is no, no. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I
Batman
got the
sits
right
in
thing.
the
Yes.
Morbius chair, and his
Yes.
question
Yeah.
is, "Who is the Joker?"
Right.
And then he's like, "That can't be possible!" And we find out
Oh.
there's been multiple Jokers.
Oh.
So all right, I'll put the spoiler tag up when I'm spoiling it.
That's kind of fun. Okay.
But here's the thing: it's this. The whole time I was reading this, it's just kind of like Jeff Johns being like, "All right, but what if there were 3 Jokers?" And they're like, "Yeah, what if?"
Right.
It's just you just want to ask like, I don't know, what if cars were pancakes? It's who what this is the
That's
question.
you. That's what you want to ask about the cars
I
and pancakes.
It's just that's the type of thinking that goes in this. Like, oh yeah, what if
Apparently.
there were three
Yeah.
Jokers? Could
Yeah.
you imagine? And then you think about it
Hmm.
like, oh wait, that would be stupid.
Right.
And this book does
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So the idea is that there have been 3 Jokers. There's the oh boy, the I can't remember what the first one is, but there's like the Joker that's kind of like the Joker Batman first met, who's kind of more serious
Okay.
and dangerous.
Hmm.
There's the like a psychopath, like murderous one, and then there's the comedian and everything. And like the
Okay.
comedian is the one that we're supposed to think kind of comes from Alan Moore's Killing Joke kind of sensibility.
Okay.
So the
And where does Caesar Romero fit in? Just
I
so I
know he's
can.
not in here. Here's the thing:
He's
you're
not
doing
one of
this
them.
thing
That's a
about
sequel.
like
Okay.
Jokers over time, and it's not like a legacy kind of thing.
Huh.
Basically, they're just trying to make a better Joker, and that Batman's been dealing. Maybe one Joker made the other two. Maybe they all made each. It's just
Okay.
Jason Todd's in here, so it's acknowledging Death in a Family and The Killing Joke for both
Okay.
Batgirl and Jason Todd, who play
Right.
important roles. There's a weird relationship between Batgirl and Jason Todd.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
the
Like relationship.
that's yeah that
Oh.
it kind of shows up a bit. There's
Yowzer. Okay.
there's some stuff with Joe Chill in this. Um, the the it's DC Black Label, and I think this was
Hmm.
planned to connect with whatever DC was doing with their next gen thing that they were calling it,
Oh
their
yeah. Hmm.
5G.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't really sure, but like this was gonna
yeah.
like lead it in with the Batman stuff, and
Okay.
now this is pretty much non-canon, but it could
Right.
be canon if future writers want to, because
I see.
again, something like Killing Joke became canon. You
Hmm.
know, that kind of stuff just happens.
Right.
This is him in the same way he continued Watchmen by doing the Doomsday Clock. This is Jeff
Hmm.
Johns saying like, "Oh, I've got some stuff I can do with the Killing Joke," and it's just
Mm.
like, I won't spoil anything about the Mandalorian, but it feels I get the same things I dislike about certain Star Wars stuff that happens these days, in that it feels like somebody loving something so much they can't help but damage it because they I don't know, they just think like,
Yeah.
oh, I love something so much, I've got these ideas, but then you end up damaging the thing that you love in the first
Yeah.
place. And so like Jeff
Yeah.
Johns grew up
Kind of
loving.
like Elmira and her pets
Yes,
in Tiny
yeah,
Toons. A
yes.
similar.
Jeff Johns is Elmira in this because he loves Watchmen and he loves Killing Joke, and he just squeezes them until there's no life in those originals anymore. Because now you have to read Watchmen and you think like, oh, and then he went on and to challenge Superman, or
Mhm.
oh, and then he went on and we had these revelations that Jeff Johns
Right.
decided 30, 40 years later. It's just, it's bizarre. I don't
Hmm.
understand his thinking with that.
Yeah.
There is a good moment with Batman going to confront Joe Chill, who's in
Okay.
jail, and he hasn't met him since. Like
Okay.
Joe Chill had been arrested, and Batman goes to confront him, and he's going like, "You know who I am." But the first time he does it, it's kind of like in a the font lets you know he's can't really get it out, and then he has
I
to
see.
take a moment and then say like, "You know who I am." So it's this kind
I
of
see.
like Batman still being a little nerve wracked.
Hmm. Okay.
It picks this book picks itself back up a little bit at the end when it kind of makes uh, comments on Joker's relationship with Batman, and kind of like it kind of comments on like the concept of Jack Nicholson's portrayal of how those, you
Okay.
know, Jack Nicholson was the person who killed his
Yeah.
parents in
Yeah.
the movie. It kind of comments on how Joker isn't connected to Batman in that kind of
Right.
way. They're
Right.
just these two and so it kind of has some interesting stuff with that. And then it has this coda that's related to the Killing Joke, and it just falls flat on his face, and you just want to
Mm.
punch a wall. I mean, I do, and I don't even like the Killing Joke. I think the Killing
Yeah.
Joke is not awesome. I prefer Lovers and Madmen's when it comes to like a Batman Joker origin thing.
Okay.
But also, I just, you know, I know where there's hollowed ground. That's the thing. It feels like, and not just like Jeff. I don't mean just Jeff Johns in this situation, but it feels like there's no such thing as hollowed ground anymore. It's all
Okay.
just. It's like what Jim Lee said when he was talking about why DC would keep making comics, because they're just mines for future stories for movies and stuff.
Right. Right.
It now just feels like, yeah, Watchmen, Killing Joke, Batman, you know, all this stuff that you would think is
Yeah.
like hollowed ground. It's not anymore. It's just ground to plow more and more until you've taken all the life out of the soil.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I don't know. I don't know if that analogy stands.
You don't know if you take life out of soil.
I've been rough
Okay.
on Jeff Johns on this show
Yeah.
lately. And you know
sure
what it
have.
is?
Sure.
It's not his fault unless he was the one who decided about New 52.
Mm.
Because before New 52, the stuff he did was great, and he found
Yeah.
like new ways, almost in the same way Grant Morrison was doing with X-Men, to like take the legacy of the DC universe and make it feel
Yeah.
fresh and new, and play with that stuff, like the stuff he did with the Flash and
Green Lantern,
Teen
Teen Titans.
Yeah, bringing all this stuff back, making
Yeah.
it feel like the history matters, but also you're on new ground.
Yeah.
And like he was able to play in a DC universe that had history, and that was his element. Once New 52 came around and they rebooted it, he wasn't working in a place that had legacy anymore. He was having to create
Yeah.
like new things, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's his strength.
Well, that's probably a lot of the reason why Green Lantern didn't really it hardly acknowledged the New
Yeah,
52.
yeah,
You
for
know what I mean?
sure.
It just was kind of like, we're still doing what we were doing, but it's New 52 sort of.
Yeah.
So,
And,
yeah.
I just feel like once you took all that history away, you took away Jeff Johns' biggest strength. So,
Yeah. I think the thing is, like, most of the things I've read by Jeff Johns, Shazam is another, it's a good holiday choice, right?
yeah.
The Jeff Johns Shazam is great and
It's a
very
Christmas
Christmassy.
movie, I guess.
It is, yeah. But the thing is, like, I had no interest in like a Watchmen sequel and all that. So I feel like I've only read the good Jeff Johns stuff, and I just have avoided
Yeah.
the stuff that to me was like, oh, no,
It's
thank you.
it's
So
funny how much
probably why I feel
Batman.
better about him.
Yeah, it's funny how much influence he's had on Batman without ever actually writing the Batman series. He's never written the
Did
Detective Comics or the Batman or anything.
did he write Earth One?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But it's still what I mean. Like it's still like these non-canon
Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
stuff. He's never been the Batman head writer or anything.
Did you finish Earth One? Have you read everything that's Earth One out there?
No, no. But I've read the
Okay,
two Batman Earth ones and the
okay.
two Superman ones.
I think there's three Superman.
Anyway, Three Jokers. It has its moments, but my biggest hope is this doesn't become canon, and
Hmm,
I'm afraid it will. And if it
I see.
does, I'll just ignore some of the stuff it says.
Well,
So
just give it some time and it won't be canon anymore.
yeah.
That's the beauty of
Oh,
it,
that's
right?
true with DC.
Yeah.
But again, I'll talk to you. You probably won't read this. I don't really want to spoil it. I don't really want to put the spoiler tag up. I'm gonna do it anyway.
You can just tell me when we stop recording.
All right, all right. I won't spoil this.
Okay. I read a Jeff Johns thing.
You son of a!
I read the Larfleeze Christmas special.
I have never. I will never meet anyone in my life who likes Larfleeze the way you've accepted him into your life.
Well, that was back when we had J.M. DeMatteis over on the All the Book Show.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a lot of J.M. DeMatteis stuff, and I had actually picked up at Larfleeze earlier
Mm-hmm.
and was like, nah, I don't have time for this. But I read through it and did end up kind of digging it. This was fun because it is just as stupid as it sounds. I mean, it's just a Larfleeze Christmas special. Like
You accepted
he come,
Larfleeze so much
yeah.
faster than you accepted Damien.
You think I've accepted Damien?
Oh,
Okay,
I
okay,
never mind. No.
all right. Well, okay. Larfleeze comes to Earth
Uh-huh.
because he's heard about Christmas, and he comes like demanding Santa Claus. So he's like harassing mall Santas and things.
Yeah.
And like he just wants and he wants and he wants. Finally, Green Lantern shows up. I am gonna spoil this. I don't know
I'll put the
if that's
spoiler
worth the
tag up.
tag, but okay.
For the when
Uh,
did this come out?
I don't know.
Okay.
But Hal comes in, he's like trying to get Larfleeze off the planet and everything, and Larfleeze is wanting to get the Christmas spirit because that's what everybody wants, and he's got this big stockpile of goods, and Hal's like, well, you only get the Christmas spirit by giving things, and so Larfleeze is like, aha, you idiot, you've told me how to get it. And so he goes and delivers all of the things that he has. He like gives away all his things in order to get the Christmas spirit, and wins by getting the Christmas spirit. So very, very heartwarming.
You're right. Maybe I didn't need the spoiler tag.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
Larfleeze.
just in case,
Yeah.
So that was my Larfleeze Christmas. I'm gonna stick with Green Lantern for a minute because I want to talk about Green Lantern Volume 2 from the animated series. So this is there's actually 14 issues of this, and the first 11 are collected, and then the book was canceled. So there's 3 that are just kind of hanging out there, but they are on the DC app, and that's how I read them. I was reading this one just because I wanted to. Like, I read the first volume and picked it up. It wasn't like a thematic thing.
Uh-huh.
I just hadn't read Green Lantern in a while, but it ties in perfectly because issue 8 is a Hanukkah story.
Hey.
And it's pretty interesting, actually. So this is by the author on this is Ivan Cohen, and I read an interview with him because I was just trying to figure out why, like, how did this happen? Because it's not really a Hanukkah story. It's like Green Lantern Hal is down on this planet, and he meets these two, and their names are Judah and Maccabee. And of course, Judah Maccabee is the hero from the Hanukkah story. And his ring only has a little bit of charge, and so he ends up being stuck on this planet, and the light from the ring holds out for 8 days. And so there's like all of these Hanukkah parallels. He makes these costumes because like his ring can't make the costume anymore, so they end up in these blue and white
Mm-hmm.
costumes, which of course are Hanukkah colors. And Hal sort of sees the irony of it all and mentions it. Meanwhile, on the ship, like Kilowog is eating latkes, and it was just
Mm-hmm.
so unexpected, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was reading this interview with the author, and he said that, you know, Art Baltazar and Franca, who were writing it, had kind of like there was issues that they weren't going to write, and he could do what he wanted, and so he pitched several, and included one Hanukkah story, three Christmas stories, one Hanukkah story, and a couple other things. And they were like, "Yeah, let's do that Hanukkah story." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Like he was not prepared to do
Hmm.
it, and so he ends up doing it. And he said he didn't want to do a thing where like Hal, who is not a Jewish character, is down on this planet and it's like this is the true spirit of Hanukkah. So rather than it just being like a Hanukkah story, it's Hal recognizing the parallels between what's happening on this planet and what happens like in the Hanukkah story, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in Maccabees. So it was it ended up being kind of a cool story. It was just an interesting thing to do. So that is collected in volume 2 of the Green Lantern animated series volumes. I read the last 3, so you know I finished the
Okay.
whole series.
Aw.
I really enjoyed it. I'm sad that it's done. I
Yeah.
always have liked these, you know, whether it's the Batman Strikes or any of these that are coming out of an animated series like this, because they get to use the characters in a really like linear way. Like you never have to worry about, oh crap, I haven't read Justice League, so I don't know what they're talking about. They're just like really concise, clever standalone stories. So I think even if you haven't read the series or haven't watched the series, which you
Mm-hmm.
should, it's in my opinion the best representation of Green Lantern we have so far. Um, these 14 issues are just really solid standalone Green Lantern stories that deal with the whole core. I mean, you had the Blue Lanterns were in here, of course. Red Lanterns play a huge role, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and the timing worked out well with the Hanukkah story in the middle there.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yep. Yeah. What else do you have in the world of Batman?
I
You know
read
what?
what?
Before I have to share, my son brought this out to me before we started, and
Yeah.
he was like, show this Nightwing figure on Comic Book Coffee
The
Break. So here
Gotham
he
Knights
is.
era. Yeah.
This is he's got this sick, sleek
Yep.
mullet in the back,
Yep.
which you'll recall we saw the creation of in the pages of New Teen Titans a
Yep.
few episodes back
Yep.
in the quarter bin.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Yeah. The
Pretty
series
bold.
came out
Pretty
like
bold.
'97. They brought him as Nightwing into the animated series and like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's give him the mullet. It's
This is
1997.
full on Billy Ray Cyrus here.
Yeah.
It's not a good look,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a look that they went with. So,
I still like that version.
do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, this was not what I thought it was going to be. I read Batman: The Last Night on Earth
That's a weird one. That is a
um,
super weird one.
by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, first off,
Looks great.
yeah,
The book
Greg
looks great.
Capullo is like one of the all-time great Batman artists now.
I would agree with that.
He just yeah, him and who's the Sean Murphy? Yeah, from
Okay.
White
Yeah, yeah,
Knight.
from like White Knight. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they kind of have a similar style, like kind of grungy, uh, exaggerated in some ways. I don't know. Um,
No, I mean I see I wouldn't have made that comparison, but I get what you're saying. I can
so
think of elements
the
similar.
the cover had me thinking that this was a Batman Green Lantern story, which it is
Oh,
not.
no. It definitely isn't.
I thought like Batman was the last person on Earth, and now he was like a Green Lantern or something. I thought I
Yeah.
was in for this Batman as the Green Lantern story.
Mm,
Tricked me cover.
sure did. Yeah.
So this is really 3 stories,
Yes.
and its biggest fault is that I think each story is something worth pursuing, but they don't necessarily work all the time as one story connected.
Mm-mm.
The
No.
first story would be some kind of like, I don't know, almost like the Perchance to Dream comic adaptation. Like, what if Batman was just crazy? It,
Yeah.
you know, kind of Batman wakes up in Arkham and all his doctors and other patients are the people in his life,
Yes.
the Rogues
Right.
Gallery and his allies
Hmm.
and stuff. So there's that. Then it becomes a Mad Max kind of
Yes. Yeah.
worldish, I guess, but also like the world's destroyed and you think, okay, so it's that. And then it becomes kind of like a what am I Hulk Future Imperfect
Hmm.
at the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's these three stories with like the Joker playing a role, with like Wonder Woman playing a role, with like weird
Yeah,
Superman elements in there.
yeah.
It's whereas like we had just talked about Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which I
Mm-hmm.
think kind of goes for a similar vibe and does it much more successfully in terms of this
Yes.
like future craziness.
I
Whereas
yeah.
this is just all over the place. I guess I could have read the first story and been
Mm-hmm.
fine, and I could have read the second or the third story, and that would have been interesting. It's like the middle part where it's just like him
Yeah.
getting a tour, which could also be interesting, and that's almost I guess like Old Man Logan then.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, they're all
Well,
different.
I think that's like the best piece of advice because I did read them with the eye at assuming that they were all like part of one story. I had a similar experience with Stephen King's Hearts in Atlantis. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that it was all one connected thing, and it's really just three separate things that
Mm-hmm.
sort of play on similar
Yeah.
ideas. And I think if you know that going in, that each one is just its own thing, start to finish, and then move on to the next one.
Reading the beginning stuff with him in Arkham, I had no idea what this was
No,
about anymore. And then
no,
once it's revealed, I'm like, oh, well, that seems like needlessly
yeah.
complicated to
I
get.
did you like this? I ultimately I wouldn't rate this high.
I think it's interesting. What did I rate? I think it's. Oh wow! I guess I gave it 4 stars. I guess the art really powers it through. There's some fun art, and I guess
Yeah.
like I liked the absurdity of it all, and I liked the way it went
Hmm.
in the end. But yeah, I guess did like it more than you. But yeah, it's strange from beginning to end. But I'm definitely gonna come back to an element of last night
Yeah.
after I'm done talking about the next thing too, because
Okay.
it's a thing I've been noticing. But yeah, it's it's another DC Black Label thing. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just give it. It's like, oh, I want a weird Batman story. Well, like here you go. Last Night on Earth. Have
Hmm.
fun. It's very
Yep.
weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if like giving someone the heads up or just being like, just see what you think.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of how it was. That's kind of how it was for me. I'm a library director, and one of the guys on my board is a big Batman fan, and he was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you have to read this," and I really didn't know anything about it, and that's
Hmm.
how I read it. It was just like, "What is
Hmm.
this?" Like, but it's an experience. We can agree on that.
But at the same time, as
Yes.
crazy as it is, it's also maybe the most cohesive or focused Scott Snyder has been with Batman in a while. I feel like
Well, yeah.
the
I mean, it's
story
at
wise, it's
least
all over the
saying
yeah.
something. Yeah.
But like I can get it, and like none of the characters. Sometimes he writes the Joker, and it's like, where have you ever seen this version of the Joker in your life, Snyder? How I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, what else? What's your other Christmas things?
Oh yes. Well, listen, it's not Christmas without a little bit of Archie. That's what it comes down to
So
here.
this is Archie. What have you
So
done?
I got this on the Archie app. They had a Christmas sale,
Uh
and
huh.
usually even the Christmas sale on the Archie app is still more expensive than just getting them
And this.
digitally from Barnes and Noble. I don't know
Oh
why,
yeah.
but for whatever reason, this one was 99 cents. So this is the one I chose.
Mm.
In hindsight, I think it was the wrong choice because there's this little thing. Archie kind of has his own like Christmassy Mitzelplick named
Mm-hmm.
Jangle. I don't know.
Jingle
And
Pix.
Betty and Veronica have one who's called Sugar Plum, who's basically the Sugar Plum
So
Fairy.
this is like the Great Kazoo.
Yes, that's a better parallel. Yes. And so all of these were the story. Collected, probably not all, but it collected most of the stories with Jingle or Jangle, whatever his name is,
Mm-hmm.
and Sugar Plum doing like little magic-y Christmas things. Sometimes they fall in love. Sometimes they turn into human forms, and like the teenagers fall in love with them.
Uh huh.
A lot of magic. At one point, Jingle dressed up as Elvis and sang. Not the best collection of Archie Christmas.
How
I
was his
prefer
Elvis
just
impression?
just some straightforward. It was spot on,
All
actually. That I
right.
have to give him that.
All right.
I have to give him that. But yeah, this is one of this is part of the Pep Digital series,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually it's a pretty good series because I mean they're digital exclusives that you can get anywhere, basically anywhere that has digital like this. But they collect thematic stories from all across. I mean, this was stuff from the 50s and stuff from the last couple of years. So it's fun to have them all collected like that, especially for Christmas. There are several holiday ones. This was just the
Mm-hmm.
one that I picked because it was the one that was 99 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So I cheaped out and I paid for it, I guess is the moral of that story.
Sorry about Jingle and Jangle or
That's all
Sugar
right.
Plum and
One of the two,
Rum a Tum
something like
Tum.
that. Yeah. You got one more Batman?
Yeah. I did not read as much as I thought I was going to this week. I've got a whole
Okay.
bunch of other stuff I wanted to read. But I read The Batman Who Laughs
Barf.
by Scott Snyder.
Why are you doing this?
The art is by Jacques. That's the same artist who did Witches, which was the Scott Snyder thing I talked about
Yep.
last time. So this was kind of
Yes.
a reunion for the two. So yes, this is the Batman Who Laughs is back. He's the character that showed up in Dark Knight's Metal. He's
Yeah.
the Batman who has been overcome by the Joker toxin and is now like an evil evil Batman.
Jokery Batman.
Yeah, the Joker Batman.
I had an advance, like a preview copy of this,
Mhm.
and I just read it cold, like with no.
7 issues. Holy moly!
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
goes on. This is too long, and this is
Terrible.
This is what I meant by like Last Night on Earth being more cohesive. You read this and like I don't know what's happening half the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Bringing back James Gordon's crazy serial killer son for some reason. I don't
I've got
know.
nothing good to say about this one.
None of the characters ever make sense. Like Scott Snyder's view of like law enforcement in Gotham is always something that's bothered me. In that it's just like, what do they do / not do? They just have
Yeah.
authority over everything, and yet they don't. He brings back the Court of Owls. Definitely.
Well, yeah, well, of course he has to. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't hate the concept of the Batman Who Laughs. Honestly, the best thing that came out of Dark Knight Metal was the issue that was looking at all the origins of these like evil dark versions of Batman. Like the one with the young there's one where like a young Bruce Wayne at the moment his parents are murdered, he gets the Green Lantern ring and overpowers its no kill directive and takes out Joe Chill and then kind of takes over the earth with the Green Lantern ring. And there's one where
what? Sorry, I mean, why not red? Why not just a red ring?
It was just the green one.
Red, but that's about willpower. That's got nothing to do with that.
There's the
red is rage. It just makes sense.
There's the origin one where Batman ties Flash to his car so he can steal the Speed Force because he's trying to stop his parents' death. So there's all these like dark or Batman stuff. So I don't know. The thing is, this is just like it's just kind of messy and all over the place. It thinks it's being epic when it's just being overlong.
Yes.
It overstays its welcome, and it doesn't really go anywhere in the end.
I don't like a story that's just. I feel like this is just 100% unpleasant.
That's
true,
I
just don't think there's like I don't think there's a part of it.
Horizon of Batman.
Yes, I just don't think there's a part of it that you can like look to as like. I don't even think it's interesting, I guess. I think it's just like, what if everything was horrible and even characters you liked are horrible and it was also really long?
So here's the thing. After reading this and some other stuff, so Tom King's Batman run has Thomas Wayne from Flashpoint coming. Thomas Wayne Batman, Batman's father who went on to become Batman in the Flashpoint universe. He's now in the main DC universe.
Which is weird.
He's now a villain. Trying to fight Batman and stop him from being Batman. You have The Last Night on Earth, which has a evil Batman character, and then you have the Batman Who Laughs in this, and it's like, I think we've reached a point where we've made the whole I'm Batman thing mean nothing can stop Batman. Where now even the Joker isn't the best foe for Batman. The only foe people can seem to come up with now for Batman is Batman.
Batman himself.
Maybe if I hadn't read all these at once, I wouldn't be realizing this. But yes, that's three different stories with 3 different versions of an evil Batman.
Yeah.
That he's dealing with.
I think this is a lesson we learned from the Dark Knight. You know, either you die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
But I mean, is this where we've reached where Batman is now just too Batman to fight anyone but Batman?
Yeah.
I guess it's just kind of interesting, fascinating, a little bit crazy, a little bit worrying, because it's not just that we have an evil
Concerning.
Batman anymore.
Hmm.
We have three, and I'm probably missing some. I mean,
Yes.
you could say that Red Hood in a way was kind of like an evil Batman figure, but I mean, he was
Yeah.
really more like an evil Robin. Like they've
Right.
just where we have three of them all kind of appearing at the same time.
It's a
By
lot.
I guess it's just it's strange, right?
Hmm. I agree. I agree with you that it's strange. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I'm looking forward to the fourth, fifth, and sixth version of an evil Batman. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, that was the whole thing with Dark Knight's Metal, that they were all just these evil Batmans. But
Hmm.
Joe, the one who laughs, is the only one who's stuck. And the other two didn't come out of that. They came out of something else. They have a whole universe of evil Batmans, and they still have
And these are
more
different.
evil
Yeah.
Batmans.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell
Because
you.
Bruce Wayne has trained so long, and he's perfect at everything.
He's good at everything.
And he can
Yeah.
still beat.
Yeah.
Batman is so good, he can still
Yeah.
beat Batman. He's become.
Bruce Wayne's calligraphy skills are like, forget about it. Try playing the guy in Mahjong, you can't beat him.
It's like
That's the thing.
somebody heard all these Chuck Norris jokes that we've made over the past decades, and they took it seriously. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, Batman, God wanted to make the world in 6 days. Batman gave him 7. And I'm going to write that story, and it's going to be dark and serious. This is where we are now, where Batman is like a non-ironic Chuck Norris joke. And I guess I just don't get it. Anyway, I've been coming up with a concept about an evil Batman. He stubbed his toe one day, and he just forsook justice and broke into the name DC Universe.
Yeah, well, you have to.
Yeah, he's only got one leg because he cut it off. He was like, I'm not going to let a weak part of my body remain. That's what we need. We need the cyborg Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Bring the cyborg Batman from the animated series.
Grab him.
Yeah, bring him into here.
You need it. You definitely need it.
Gosh, none of these are clones either. These aren't
True.
clones, evil Batman.
You're
Where's
right.
the evil Batman clone? I mean, is Hush...
You're right.
Does Hush come under this now?
I guess.
It's crazy.
Maybe.
Okay, I'll stop. This is just a thing I've been thinking about all week.
I understand. You know what? The DC Universe app went away from my Roku just in the last couple of days, which was kind of sad.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah,
just...
you can't. Well, it's weird because mine you can still watch everything like on my phone. Like the content is still there. Like you can still watch things, but it's not available on Roku anymore. And so I don't really know. I thought they were just phasing out having any sort of streaming component on there.
Yeah, I didn't...
That was my understanding.
I didn't realize that... I thought... Because there's the animated series are still on the DC app.
Yeah.
So I just...
So I don't really know what the plan for. There's a lot of things that aren't on HBO Max. A lot of like my son and I had been rewatching the Batman, and that's been on the app, but it's not on HBO Max. So I don't really know like what happens, but it happened, and I noticed particularly because we've been using the DC Universe Yule log quite a bit,
right?
And now it's no more. So what are you gonna do? I have one Christmas thing to share with you, Eric, that is not comic book related. Though when you think about it, the lead character is essentially a superhero because she solved so many murders over the course of her long, long career. And that is, of course, Jessica Fletcher, as played by Angela Lansbury in the Murder, She Wrote television series and the novel series that spun off. I just read the 60-second book in the Murder, She Wrote series called Murder in Season by John Land. And since we don't have the All the Book Show anymore, this is where you have to hear about it because I can't let a Christmas go by without talking about some Murder, She Wrote. But this series has been going way longer than the TV show ever did. And I didn't even know this was coming out. I was just in the room at the library where the new books come in, and I was like, a new Christmas Murder, She Wrote. So I read it, and it was about a murder that happened at the founding of Cabot Cove and a present-day murder. It was very Christmassy, and I enjoyed it. So that's all. I just wanted to share that with you. Yeah.
It does say on the Help Center for the DC app, in December 2020, DC Universe will no longer be available on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon TV, tablet, and Xbox apps. But you should...
Yeah, so...
So now you can't read the comics on there either, if that's what you've done.
Yeah, see, I guess I didn't realize that. I thought just the streaming was phasing out, but we could still watch the the comics on TV. Like my son likes to do that. We'll put like Teen Titans Go or something up there for him. But yeah, I guess no more. So I don't know.
I know you have to.
Thank goodness I watched the Shazam show while I had the chance.
I know you have to like pay royalties and stuff, or pay like a fee to be on something like Roku. You have like a share. So I wonder if it's just like now that we don't have this stuff, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, that's probably.
But also they're relaunching it as DC Universe Infinite. So I wonder
Yeah.
if maybe it will come back as that.
Possibly. I don't know. I guess we'll just, as long as I have access
Yeah.
to the comics, that's what I really care about.
Yeah.
I picked a special seasonal quarter bin for today. And this is a bit of a cheat because this one I know for a fact that I did not get for a quarter in a long box. I bought this in the grocery store in the checkout aisle when it was brand new.
Mhm.
And this was it was a classic comic book bait and switch. And this is, of course, The Adventures of Superboy number 12 from 1991 by John Moore and Kurt Swann.
Mhm.
So the cover of this one, as you can see,
this is before Connor Kent shows up.
yeah, this is before. This is along the top. It says "as seen on TV," and this was kind of coming out of the Superboy TV show. It's not really like the Superboy TV show, but like the first issue of this series had the actors from the TV show on the cover, and then it kind of goes from there. But it doesn't really follow that very closely at all. But anyway, I loved that TV show, and I also loved a show with Jerry O'Connell called My Secret Identity, which was on at the same time. It would often confuse me because I would expect Superboy and it would be Jerry O'Connell. It was very disappointing.
Yeah.
But
Man, did they have your number putting "as seen on TV" in front of your eyes in 1991?
They know it. I know. Yeah. Yeah, because my grandma would tape this show for me. But anyway, as you can see on the cover here, you have Superboy in the center here in full costume. And then you have all these people. You have all these people flittering around. Are you wearing Elton John glasses? What's happening right now?
Glasses.
Oh, okay. Well, that's festive. Anyway, so you see everybody else is flying around, but there's Superboy just chilling in costume in the center of the street. Now, at no point is Superboy ever in costume in this book. You never see Superboy even once. You just see Clark Kent, which is fine. But you also get the impression that everybody has superpowers and Superboy is grounded. Also not true. Okay? So let me just take you through this step by step.
Can I tell you, I had a Power Rangers tape. And on the cover, it was the Triceratops Zord and everything. And it was the only Power Rangers episode I ever owned on tape. And it was the Pudgy Pig episode. And, like, the episode shows, like, the Megazord and everything. And I was so excited. And in that episode, they never once used their Zords.
That's disappointing.
And I was always... And if I feel what you're saying reminds me of it. Because it's like, oh, right, Power Rangers. You got the cover, you got the Zords, and then you watch it like, where are the Zords?
I read a book called The Cestus Deception by Steve Barnes. It's a Star Wars book. And Dooku is the most prominent figure on the cover of the book. He's not in the book.
But it's
he's mentioned.
Okay.
He is mentioned, and there may be one point where it's like he's a hologram and they have a brief conversation. He's not a part of the book, is my point.
Would you say he was a Phantom Menace in that situation?
I would say that exactly. I would say that without irony. Anyway, this one is called Holidazed and Confused.
Holidazed and Confused.
Yes.
Congratulations, DC Comics.
Yes. So Jonathan Kent comes into the barn at the Smallville farm, and Clark is like, oh my gosh, I got to hide this tractor because he's restoring the tractor for his dad for Christmas. And he takes it up into the loft. And I'm like, no way can you put a full-size tractor like up in a loft in this rickety old farm.
Sure.
Yeah. So he hides it. He doesn't want his dad to see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Martha needs a ride over to see Lila, and I don't know who that is. And reading this did not clear that up. Lila lives in a trailer park. So they go to this trailer park. Lila's really happy to see Clark, and she's like, oh, are you a doc?
Laurel?
No.
Is she blonde?
No.
Oh.
It's not. No. Are you thinking of like from Legion of Superheroes?
Oh, I must be.
Yeah, no, it's not her. And so she's all happy to see Clark, and her kids are running around. Well, suddenly there's this big commotion, and this man is like screaming at her children. What is it? It's a crazy name, like Mandragon or something. Mondragon.
Mr. Mandragon.
Mr. Mondragon is yelling at the kids for messing with his garden. So this whole thing kind of comes up.
Farmer McGregor situation.
Yes, and
Farmer Maggot. Sorry.
while
Or
yeah, while this is happening, Mondragon has like it seems like he's having a heart attack.
oh frick!
Um,
Get out of his
yeah,
garden, kids!
yeah.
You'll kill him.
So Clark goes and he picks him up and he takes him into his trailer, which is like next door. And so they all come in and he's like sweating profusely and is all like
Mm-hmm.
And Clark is noticing all this like there's a lot of like religious or just like cultural iconography like all over the wall. And so Clark's just like, this is kind of a weird vibe up in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're calling 911, and the man finally comes to, and he's like, no, no ambulance, don't call 911. And they're like, okay, well, bye. So they leave. Anyway, he goes back to like laying on the couch. We stay with him for a minute. The TV's on, and he's got this little like, I don't know, a totem. He's holding a little thing in his hand, and he sees Superboy on the screen, and it's just kind of mumbling like, oh, Superboy, meh. And that's all we know. He's mumbling feverishly while fingering this mysterious talisman. So we cut to Clark and Lana, who are just walking downtown in Smallville. They're talking about their Christmas plans and everything. And suddenly, the statue in the center of town, the statue of Rutherford Small, founder of Smallville. I've never heard of this man in my life.
No, he's very important. He founded
Smallville. Anyway, he just starts talking. He doesn't like become human or anything. He just starts talking as a statue, and he's like, "Oh, where am I? This is crazy. Oh, this town's gone to hell in a handbasket. I never should have lived in Kansas." And talking about Kansas weather and stuff. He hears Lana call Clark Kent, and he assumes Clark is Samuel Kent, who's Jonathan's grandfather. It's a whole thing with this statue, and it is irrelevant and also doesn't really resolve. Anyway, a crowd has gathered around this man and the statue, who's up on a pedestal and is still like marble and is talking.
Mm-hmm.
And while people are distracted, this kid runs in the street like after a balloon. Lana goes to catch him and gets like blindsided by a truck. Okay. And she's fine, but the truck is all beat up. Now, you remember, I brought up this issue back when I read Spider Island because this Spider Island takes a lot of cues, I feel like, from this one. But anyway,
Christmas Superboy.
Yes, it's very similar.
You think Dan Slott's like, finally, the perfect Spider-Man story to pay homage.
So Lana's rescued this child who's still trying to get his balloon, and it starts to float away. And so the kid ends up like flying, and then everybody's like, what? Then we have a big montage of everybody in town using Superboy's powers, and Clark's just kind of wandering around being like, what is happening? And then he has to do something super, and he does it, but then nobody thinks anything of it because everybody has superpowers. So finally he's just like, oh, cool, I could just be myself with my friends. So he and Lana are flying around having a good time, much like Peter and Harry in Spider Island.
Right.
So they're flying around, no risk to the secret identity, everything's cool. Back at the Kent house, Ma and Pa are decorating at super speed. Mom's cooking, she's pulling things out of the oven with her bare hands. Everybody's having a great time. Back at the trailer park, our feverish friend Mondragon is still holding the amulet, and an infomercial for scrap metal is playing, and then it switches to like a late-night monster movie. Eric, you're not going to believe this, but suddenly Smallville is attacked by a scrap metal monster. Okay? So Clark leaps to action. What? And here's the weird part. He still doesn't turn into Superboy, but his shirt is open, and you can see the Superboy shirt. So he's just like actively going through Smallville, Clark Kent glasses and everything with the Superboy shirt on, right? Which is very strange to me. He notices this weird aura coming from the trailer park. He goes back to Mondragon, and Mondragon's like, oh no, it's happened again. I don't know. He rouses him, and the guy's like, all right, I'll go and undo this magic, but first I must have my coffee. So, I mean, thematic with our show, but I don't know why you took the time. Over in Smallville, Clark and this mysterious man, they arrive, and we see a snow monster forming, and it's becoming this huge thing. But Mondragon's like, oh, it couldn't even hurt you.
There's a snow dragon and a junk heap monster.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, it's fine. Everything's, this is just, it's all in your mind, So he like swings his amulet around his head, like David and Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
And everything starts to go away. Lana has noticed the Superboy shirt and is like, I knew it! But Mondragon, when he takes everything else away, takes Lana's memory. So Lana doesn't remember either. Mm-hmm. Clark wakes up.
She does remember her parents, though, and she constantly goes to their graves.
They're dead. Yep, she remembers that.
Hi, parents.
So Lana, no, the next morning is Christmas, so Clark wakes up and is like, could it have been all a dream? But definitely not. Ma and Pa Cat were like, no way, we had superpowers, and it was awesome. Here's your Christmas present. And he unwraps it, and it's a snow globe, and inside the snow globe is that scrap metal monster. Merry Christmas!
The end. What about the tractor?
I think it's still up there. I don't know. He never got it down. Yep. So then all of the various Spider characters come, and they have a big rumble. And no, that's Spider Island. Sorry. You didn't give me anything there. Sorry, so I just... I chose to end it myself.
That yes, I see what you mean, but we'll see. We gotta somehow tweet
Dan Slott's a hack, and he ripped off this Superboy comic book from the 1990s series Superboy. You know it, and I know it. Do you know the game Splatterhouse? Because it looks disgusting.
I know of it.
He's got a chainsaw. You've got a 12-gauge shotgun. Who will cut who in half?
Well, 1991. This is like on Super Nintendo or Sega, right?
Splatterhouse.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
There's another one in here that I don't even know. There was, I did actually want to ask you about something. How are we doing on time? Can you check with Roger?
Give me an advertisement from something in 1991's.
I need to ask you about something.
Christmas Day.
This is called. It looks like it's for NES. It says Street Fighter 2010: The Final Fight. Does this have anything to do with like Street Fighter, or is it just they're just using the similar name? Because I've never in my life heard of this.
I think I used to know the difference. It's an action fighting game, but 1990. Gosh, is this before? This is before Street Fighter 2 came out. Then
it's Capcom. I mean, few live to finish this game. It says.
Yeah.
So it's not connected?
GameSpot criticized the game's translate plot line of introducing Ken as a cyborg 25 years in the future of the original Street Fighter.
Okay.
But this would be before Street Fighter 2.
So this is Street Fighter 2 is what you're telling me.
It's the real Street Fighter 2? Is that what you try to argue
Capcom here? Doesn't want you to remember
hold on. Street Fighter 2 was released in 1991. So,
this is 1990.
I don't know. It's crazy. I wish I was a better expert about this crazy Street Fighter 2010 game. August 1990 in Japan.
Yeah.
And Street Fighter 2.
The last one I have to ask you about here is called Rad Racer 2. And it's just questionable because it's a little kid with like an electric guitar behind him and a Nike shoe. And it says in big block letters, do 250 miles per hour in your underwear. Is that...
Because
are we okay with that?
You're at home and you're in your underwear, but you can still go that fast.
Yeah.
Because you're playing it as a video game.
Do we feel comfortable with this, though, is what I'm saying? Because I don't, I guess, is my point. I'm sad to say that we're past the age of the Hostess commercial, so there was nothing for me to give you.
Yeah. It's all about those video games.
Too late for that.
It's all about those 16 and 32-bit graphics.
Actually, though, I think there was an ad for an On Her Majesty's Secret Service role-playing game in here.
Oh, yeah, the James Bond role-playing game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's that.
All right. Fun, I guess. That was a weird issue that I'm glad I didn't read.
Well,
maybe I would. Yeah.
I'll send a copy to you.
No!
You would be like, Spider Island sucks. Eric, I already mentioned 902, and here we go. But outside of the Radio Meanwhile Network, I'm the host of How's Things, the official podcast and radio show of the David A. Howe Public Library. We've been on a Christmas high. This week, we just dropped an interview with Melody Carlson, who's a best-selling author who's written lots of Christmas books, including The Christmas Dog, The Christmas Cat, The Christmas Pony.
I read that.
That's a different one, actually.
Oh,
but you did read one about a little girl who wanted a pony.
Yep. We learned the differences between ponies and horses.
We did learn that.
You suggested that sometimes the horse isn't just depressed. It might have just had a bad day.
It might have just... Yeah. It's possible. It's possible. But anyway, I interviewed Melody Carlson about her new book, The Christmas Swap, and we've got some cool episodes and interviews coming up, so go check that out. What about you, man?
I was hoping she was just going to keep going down, like the Christmas Goose, the Christmas Raccoon, the Christmas Bobcat. the Christmas orangutan.
Yeah.
He can't celebrate Christmas. He's an orangutan. Jojo loves Christmas.
You've just written a heartwarming holiday classic.
About a Christmas orangutan?
Yeah.
They don't match, though. They're orange. Orange is not a Christmas color.
That's true.
Yeah.
Although Larfleeze would disagree.
Oh, that's true. What was your question before I decided about this Christmas orangutan?
Yeah, what else? What else are you doing out
on
there?
the Radio Me Now
bro?
Network? It's previously on X-Men, where we talked Logan, the animated series, and where we talked the Kitty Pryde Christmas issue where she gets chased by an alien. 90s Music's Got Me Like, where we just talked Losing My Religion, and now we're talking All I Want for Christmas Is You, and then Comic Book Coffee Break, where Nick tells us about crazy Superboy stories that still happened in 1991. That's what I think I find the most crazy, that like this story is coming out of like 91.
This exact story happened in 2012 and it was called Spider Island. So don't be saying it's still happening in 91. But Spider-Man didn't
wake up and being like, "Did I dream it?" This feels like it has like that pre that kind of like 50s DC vibe.
I'm not gonna argue with you. It has a very Silver Age
like if
feel
this Superboy woke up and then it was like, "Hey, what's Lara doing here? Doesn't she belong in the orphanage? Supergirl, get out of here!
Get back in that orphanage!" And then he'd be like, "Whoops! I accidentally married Wonder Girl."
I lost my powers.
I sold my suit for 45 cents. Which was a lot of money back then. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a much bigger deal. That was like a crisp 20.
Yeah, that was basically like selling your car. You know what I mean? Like that was the loss on that scale.
All right. Well, then that was Comic Book Coffee Break.
It was.
Anything you're going to be reading? It's going to be like Christmas and New Year's. You got any do you still have Christmas things you're going to be reading, or are you
No, I don't think so. I think I haven't read, I'm going to get back into Rebirth, and I'm on some Aquaman titles. So I'll probably read some Aquaman, probably read some more Vintage Cap, and then we'll see. We'll see where my heart takes me. It's going to be hard to read those
comics while you're on Aquaman. You got to get off the comics to read them. I read comics. They're in my hand, not on.
No, I won't be party to this.
I have so much that I've checked out, but I had all these Batman comics I had to read, and I've decided to read Detective Comics that was happening alongside Tom King's Batman run.
Oh,
and those have been put in like this heavy one because that writer, it's Tyrion.
Like Night of the Monster Men and all that.
Yeah, the Rise of the Batman kind of.
Yeah. I've read all those. Yeah, that's decent. Decent.
What's the writer's name? Tyrion the Third.
Yeah, James?
Yeah, James Tyrion. He's the one who took over Batman after Tom King left and wrote the Joker War and stuff. So I'm like, well, I mean, if he's doing this and he wrote like 40 issues of Batman, I should start where he started doing his take. So that's
how much do you like Clayface as a good guy?
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Okay.
There's been so many Clayface. I remember when I first read No Man's Land and Clayface was in there and they said a name and I was like, that's not the name I know from the animated series. And then I found out there's like 20 Clayfaces.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Too many.
I want the evil Clayface from the Dark Metal universe to show up.
Yeah.
That's it. So I've got but I don't have those issues of Batman. So I've got some Hellraiser. I've got some I gotta finish the stinking Wicked and Divine.
Yeah.
So I could be done
Fans
with that.
demand
I can move on.
So
that's it. All right.
Okay.
Bye. Are you gonna watch Shazam? It's a Christmas movie.
No.
Oh, okay. But it is.
I know.
I forgot all about that, but it is a Christmas movie.
I tried to buy it for you, but you already bought it for yourself.
I got it right over here on Blu-ray. Thanks for it.
That's why I have it. This is why to this day I own Shazam, because I bought it for you. You, Mr. Like, it's December 20th. I'm going to buy some obvious things for myself.
It was on sale.
Merry Christmas, Eric. That was you. I did send you a present.
Wasn't it Shazam I did send you and a present. Aquaman? Or no, it was just Shazam.
Yeah. No, I bought you Shazam and Aquaman. Yeah, I did.
Sorry.
Yep. You hurt a lot of people that Christmas. I feel like you should open the Christmas present I got for you on Comic Book Coffee Break sometime. So.
Do you know which one it is?
Look under your chair.
A third Toyota Corolla.
No, you can say. You can save it for Christmas. That's fine.
All right. That's it. Let's end this because now the ending has gone longer than any of our descriptions of the comics.
Yes.
Stop making evil Batman. There's enough. We've got we've got all of them. And there's Owlman.
Stop it.
He counts.
Yeah.
That's 4 then.
He's the original. Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Okay.